This channel supports Extra Life in its efforts to raise money for the Children's Miracle Network. For more information about how to donate and join in their efforts, go to the link displayed here. Extra Life. Play games, heal kids. What up, everybody? This is your boy Black Magus, and so an announcement was made today that E3 will be allowing the public to attend on February 13th, 2017. Tickets will be available for non-press or people who don't qualify as press, meaning if you're a YouTuber, a Twitch streamer, or you're just a straight up games media member. You don't need to be able to meet the requirements to gain a press pass to get into E3. Now, it's not full access, so for those of you who think that you're just going to come into E3, get into all the conferences and sit into the crowds and be hyped at Sony's conference, Microsoft's conference, etc. No, it doesn't work like that. What they're doing is they're selling tickets to give the public access to the show floor. Basically, that's where all the booths are, the game demos, things like that. You could also be able to attend different panel discussions. Pretty much think PAX if you want to have a good reference point. Now, here's the kicker. On the 13th, tickets are going to sell for $150. But after that, and they don't necessarily say when, but the tickets will go up to $250. It's going to be a limited amount of tickets available, 15,000 general access tickets for the trade show, to be exact. So get your tickets while you can. It's not like it's if you show up, you buy a ticket, you get in. Or if you just go online and you buy a ticket, you're going to automatically get in. Limited amounts, and you're limited to the show floor, which isn't bad. It makes sense, because why would they give you access to the press conferences? The press conferences are generally intended for the press to attend, let's be honest. And we gain our access by watching live streams, so that's cool. Now, some people are thinking that this is not a good move. I know that there are people in games media who probably are not liking this, because I've heard over the past few years during podcasts, with the expansion of access to people who do YouTube and Twitch, people who do traditional games media had not been too happy about that whole deal, because their claims were, and it's probably valid to a point, a lot of those people who attended, or even some people who were considered quote unquote legit games media, they were basically there just to come up on swag. They were talking about how a lot of people would be filling lines just to get the free items that are there and all of that stuff, and it kind of impeded them from doing their job. Now, I'm not sure how true that is. I'm sure there's some people who can definitely confirm that, but I can see that being true, because a lot of people want to go to E3, and people will do some really interesting things to try to qualify to get in, because it's a big event. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, gaming event where games all over are showcased, and you could see a lot of things. Furthermore, if you're somebody on Twitch or YouTube, it can gain you a lot of attraction to your channel, having footage of you attending these events. So, yeah, I can see where game media would be annoyed, because they're there to try to do their job and be serious about things, where, yeah, there's going to be a lot of clowns who are just trying to like either come up on merchandise or just try to facilitate um, themselves with more interest in their channels to whatever they do. So I mean, yeah, it is what it is. I think it's a cool move though. I like the idea of letting people in and making it a more people friendly environment because while E3 is still such a grand spectacle for a lot of us, uh, I think that having the public could only gain it more exposure and give it more word of mouth, especially with all these companies deciding nowadays that they're limiting themselves to E3. You have EA who's going to do their own separate show at a separate venue. Um, Sony and Microsoft, the majors, they're still there. Nintendo doesn't really do E3. They'll occasionally pop up there, but for the most part, they just do their treehouse and have their booth. Um, I could see Nintendo eventually one day just completely separating themselves. And other companies too, because there had been a couple of years where other companies just were like, yeah, we're not going to E3 or what have you, and we'll do something separate if we really have a major announcement to speak on. But yeah, I see conferences as a whole kind of um, not being as important because, and I've said this before, and I'll continue to say this. I think PlayStation Experience is a good example of what a company can do if they really want to. They don't necessarily need to continue to go to these conferences, pay these ridiculous prices for booths and booth space, things like that, for setup, traveling in, personnel, all of that. They can set up their own venue, their own shop. Do like if you're big enough. I don't think super small companies should avoid these conferences because that helps them get major exposure. But at the same time, if you're a Microsoft, if you're a Sony, an Activision, an EA, like what EA is doing, you do enough where you can probably pick and choose what events you want to go to, like people have been doing lately, or like Sony, just do your own thing and you know gain a lot more exposure. Because I personally think that PlayStation Experience is the more enjoyable, more inviting event for Sony, but at the same time, again, E3 still holds a certain place. But I could see eventually, like how Gamescom has not been as big as it used to be, E3 kind of fading, and I think that's why E3, their committee decided to go ahead and open it up a little bit to the public because they don't want to lose the magic, the hold that it has in the gaming community. Opening it to the public may help companies want to stay because it gains more people who get more eyes on it and more word of mouth and things like that. So yeah, it's a good move in my opinion. I think it's a good move, but hey, we'll see how it all works out. Anyway, as always, feel free to hit me up. Let me know what you think, and I'll holler at you later. This your boy Black Makers, and I'm out, y'all. Deuces.